What's up YouTube, it's Heartbreak Cat. It's weekly animation tip. I'm actually going to be giving you two tips on how to do moves. I'm going to be showing you how to do a Powerbomb and a Hurricanrana. I decided to do two this week because of the absence of the video last week. However, I did upload a new animation, so I hope that made up for it. If you haven't seen it already, check it out. Anyway, starting out, it's pretty basic. I mean, however you want to set up the Powerbomb. You could go for the kick. If you don't know how to do kicks, I covered that in one of my last videos. Or my first video, I should say. So yeah, have the kick, and then as you're bringing the other person down, you may or may not need string depending on how balanced the figure is. But either way, if you do need string, just put it around the figure's head as you pull it down, and just make sure the other figure's kind of following along with it, so it looks like the person's actually dragging the other one down. And so eventually you're going to get a position like this. Now, if your figure keeps, like falling down like this, what you could do is wrap the arms around the legs. Now, I don't mean to do this in like one frame, go from like this to this. I mean, like, you should already know this ahead of time if your figure can't really stay there well, so, kind of just transition into it. If that makes sense, hopefully. Then you're just going to have the other guy bend down, and when you pick him up, there are pretty much two ways you can do this depending on the balance of your figures and what you're comfortable doing. The first one is simply sliding the string underneath the feet of the person getting the move. Notice how the figures really didn't move as I slid it under. And then from there you can lift up, and as you're doing it, just make sure the other figure is following along with leg movements. If you want to like bend the knees or have like one leg go farther than the other with your other figure, then go ahead. I mean, it makes the move look more realistic. And yes, the figures are falling because I'm just kind of doing a one-armed example with this. It will do better if you have patience and you actually put effort into it. But yeah, you really just, you can almost get away with one string if you are patient and do it right, basically. With each frame, having, with movements, of course, and until you get up to like a middle point. And then from there, usually when I reach the halfway point, I'll like have the string right under the legs, or maybe even the cracks under the feet. That's a good holding place. And then you can simply switch to two strings and have one under the head and one under the bottom of the legs. I choose this lighting because it really shows people where the strings are, and I think that's useful. Anyway, you'll end up like this, and then from there, pull the top string or the head string up, and you can basically finish your lift. So I mean, that's really all you have to do for the lift. The other way to do it is pretty much the same, except in the starting point, what you're going to do is already have two strings on them. If you're really worried about the lift up, or you want to do it differently, or whatever, really. And so that way you have complete control as the figure's going up, and you can kind of do whatever you want with it, rather than just having one string around the midsection. In fact, I'd probably recommend doing this way more. I mean, it just, I guess, depends on whatever. As for the Powerbomb itself, it's pretty simple. I mean, you already, at this point, have the two strings around the figure, so you can, do it however you want, depending on what kind of angle you want him landing at. It's pretty simple. And just make sure the other figure's movements follow through with it, as if he's actually, throwing him down. Usually you don't need string for this, but if you really want to, like, I don't know, do something with it, then I suppose you could do the ring post technique I showed in the first episode. Basically, for sit-down powerbombs, what you can do is put one string around the midsection of the person delivering the move, and then have it kind of touch the legs of the person taking the move, and that way it pretty much holds them both into place, and then put the other string around the midsection of the person taking the move. And what you'll find is, as you bring the arms down, if you have a good, if the figures have a good grip together, the figure will kind of go with it. And then from there, you know, you can have the person jump, have him bend his legs more. And once you reach a point where the figure is low enough, you can take the string that was around the midsection of the person taking the move and put it around the legs of the person delivering the move. So then you end up with this. So I mean, you can do this, you know, from the top rope, the, you know, just the ring, anything really. Hope that made sense. That was just like a little bonus tip on how to do sit-down power bombs, because that's one of my favorite moves to animate. I haven't done one in a while. Maybe I should. Alright, now back to Hurricanranas. So let's say you got your guy up and you want him to reverse with the Hurricanrana now. Well, I mean, at first, you're kind of just doing the reverse of the powerbomb lift, except you're kind of, you know, bending the guy with it, so it's basically like the reverse. But then you're kind of, what you're going to do is have the string almost go around the neck of the person who's delivering, or who's taking the move now. And this person will still have enough room. And then use your other string to put around the legs of the person taking the move. And then from there, you can kind of, you know, have the string lifting the legs here and the string still coming down around the legs and head here. And then from there, you can get a solid flow movement of the Hurricanrana. And as you flip them, you know, basically have the string where necessary, maybe string on the feet and head, and then flip it, and then the other way around, basically. Hope that makes sense. Now that's the easy way for if you're doing it on the ground. There's not too much difficulty in ground Hurricanranas. If you're doing something more on like the top rope or anything like that, you're gonna have to be a little bit more tricky with your string placement. You can still get away with having the string around the head here and still touching the feet, and then the string on this side, but then you also have to worry about the person's head down here. So for that particular move, if you want to do it off of things, you can either have a third string around the head here. In fact, I'll show you this real quick. So basically like this, except once you reach a certain point, you'll take your third string and have it around the head of the person who's delivering the move. Now, 3-string moves are definitely not for beginners. If you're beginner, stick more towards the previous tip. But what I do recommend when it comes to 3-string moves is be very careful with how you place them, and you're really gonna have to like pre-plan this. Make sure that certain strings don't block off other strings so you can't do the move properly. But yeah, pretty much you're gonna just, you know, get your landing. You're gonna have one guy land, the other guy come off. I probably didn't explain this one the best, but it's one of those things where you just kind of gotta, you know, figure it out and, you know, use this as best as you can, and just kind of, you know, put the strings around the figures and really see what works. But I hope you really did get something out of these tips, whether it be the Powerbomb, Super Powerbomb, or Hurricanrana. I think next week I'm probably going to finally cover that RKO that everyone wants to see. So I'll look forward to that. If you have any more tips or requests, please let me know. I'm looking forward to hearing them. And I just realized my finger's bleeding. I don't know why. That's not cool. But rate, comment, subscribe. Oh god, there's not even rating anymore. Like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, please leave your requests or any questions or concerns you may have, any difficulties if I didn't explain anything well enough. Thank you and peace.